Welcome, Kiran. It looks like we are finally live. I mean, this was our fourth attempt. I think it's and you were telling me the story about the internet being down today. So we, one of the values that I think you and I share is perseverance. So I
Yes.
just kept saying, let's keep trying. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But welcome.
Yes, thank you, Alina. Thank you for having me. And absolutely, perseverance is like number one for entrepreneurs and founders, right? You got to have perseverance to be a founder for sure.
And one of the other things I know me, this is Audacious Conversations, but it kept saying try again in 5 minutes, and I couldn't wait 5 minutes, so I just kept trying every 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
there you go. But it's lovely to have you here. This is Audacious Conversations, and for me, as I was just telling you in the gap that we had, it's an honor just to have people who inspire me, who have got audacious stories, and then exploring these three pillars of audacity for me. It's courage, care, and nonconformity. So, which one speaks to you most right now out of those three?
Oh, that's hard because I really resonate with courage. I feel like throughout my whole life, I've had to be brave and courageous to do the things that I've done. But also, I think more recently, conformity and always having to think out of the box and be different. Well, I don't have to be different, but I choose to be different. And that's important for me as a value for myself. But I'd probably go with courage because even to market yourself as something different from what's out there takes um, courage for sure.
For sure. So why don't we go there? Because I know, as you said, you've had lots of courage throughout your life, and um, I'm curious. Maybe something audacious about yourself, but what's your story, Kira?
So where do I start? Well, I was at 8 years old, I was put into foster care. So that was obviously as an 8-year-old by themselves, it takes a lot of courage to get through that. But then 18, I left foster care. So I was there for 10 years. And then I had my daughter. She was kind of like a miracle baby. It wasn't supposed to happen. But at 19, I had her. And to be honest, it was catch 22 situation. Obviously, I was thrilled to have her. And she's my best friend now. And she's the only family that's like truly loved me. But also it was very hard at 19
Mm.
getting through school and trying to provide for her when I was in such a that kind of position. So yeah, so at 19 I had her, but then at 26 I took a trip across to New York City by myself just to explore. And I went into Times Square, as you do when you go to New York, and I see a big crowd of people, and I'm thinking, what's happening there? Let me see. So I push my way to the front, and I take out my camera, and I'm taking pictures. I have no idea what's happening. I don't even know what I'm taking a picture of. And someone comes up to me and they say, you got to step back. It's actually, there's a bomb. There's a bomb in a car. It hasn't been detonated. It's been secured. They're securing the area, and it was that FBI agent that had stopped me. And we ended up chatting. I got his number, and on that same exact trip to New York, a volcano in Iceland erupted. So my 1 week trip turned into a 4 week trip because all of the planes were grounded. So that was a whirlwind romance right there. He came to Scotland. I went back to New York. He proposed to me. We got married in New York City. And I got invited to be on the show Say Yes to the Dress because I bought my dress in Kleinfeld, but I wasn't able to go on the show because he's not allowed to show his face because he's FBI. But that was very wild. But then after 6 months of marriage, he found someone else. He went off on a work trip, and then he came back after 3 months, and he was like, "Oh, let's just be friends." And I'd spent so much time and effort and money to move to America to be told that. I didn't have any friends or family there. And this is another point of my life where I just needed courage. Like, what do you do when you're in a situation like that all by yourself, with a small child? My daughter was only 6 at the time when I moved there. And I it was really, really difficult. A lot of people want to move to America because they want to live the American dream. But in fact, for me anyway, it wasn't the case. I ended up having to work 5 jobs, at least 5 jobs. I was a psychiatric nurse working 9 to 5. I worked in Applebee's waitressing in the evenings. At the weekends, I was bartending. I got my bartending mixologist license. That was in the evenings at the weekends. In the morning at the weekends, I was teaching soccer to little kids, and I was able to take my daughter with me. I was also doing lots of things online. I had Etsy stores. I was teaching cooking lessons online, all just to be able to pay my rent because I was by myself, and the cost of living over there is so expensive. It was just very, very difficult. And then one day, I can't actually remember how I won a scratch card. I think it was through my daughter's school. And then I scratched it off, and it said, you've won pick 4, which is like a lucky dip. So you just pick 4 numbers. So I took it into the newsagents, and they gave me a pick 4. And it turns out that I won the lottery in New York City. And I couldn't believe it. Obviously, it was amazing. It wasn't like the top lottery, like it wasn't jackpot or anything, but it was enough money to pay off any debts that I had, credit card bills. I was able to pay my rent a couple of months up front. And then a friend of mine from New York had just moved to Hong Kong, and she said to me, you don't have a husband, you don't have anything holding you down or family in New York. And you've just won the lottery. How about you come over to Hong Kong for like a month over Christmas and New Year, and we'll spend some time together and hang out, and you can check out Hong Kong. And I said, yeah, why not? So that's what I did. Pack my daughter up. We went for a holiday in Hong Kong, and I never considered even visiting Hong Kong at that point. But when I did, it was amazing. It was truly unbelievable. And I loved it so much that my friend said to me, your degree's in English literature. How about you try getting a job over here as an English teacher? All you need to do is your TEFL, which is teaching English as a foreign language, and you'll get a job no problem. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do. Life is too hard in America. I went back, sold everything, did up my TEFL online, and then packed up my daughter again. And this is, mind you, she's 10 now, and she's already moved continents like twice. So we moved to Hong Kong, and everything just seems so perfect because I was able to get a job before I even left. I was able to get a job and a visa. My friend was living in a sort of 3-layer apartment block, and the apartment at the bottom opened up, and she was same landlord, able to get me a house, no problem. My daughter went to school with her daughter, like they did in America. She now had a friend in Hong Kong to go to school with. So everything just seemed amazing. And it was. I lived in Hong Kong for 7 years, almost 7 years. I love teaching so much that I did my postgraduate in education, primary school education. And then I set up my first business in Hong Kong. And it's an education company that I still run, actually. It's kind of what funds my other dreams that I'll tell you about in a minute. But that was definitely a high point for me. I was really enjoying life and really thriving. However, COVID happened to all of us. And for me, what that looked like was coming back to the UK because all education moved online. Nobody was teaching in person. It was all online education. So my daughter said to me, I want to do my GCSEs. She was about 13, 14 at that point. She said, she wasn't 10. She must have been 16. She said, I want to do my GCSEs in the UK. I want a UK qualification. So that's what I did. I was like, oh, it's okay. My business is online at the moment, so we can move. So we came back to London, and you guys were just starting to recover from COVID, and I was doing my Hong Kong business, couple of days, and I was doing my then I was substitute teaching in schools in London, and that's when I realized that teaching was a lot different here, and I wasn't really cut out to be a teacher for the kids in the UK. It was very difficult. To be honest, I felt like I was just a babysitter. I wasn't really educating them, so I felt really unfulfilled at that point. And I read the book Ikigai, about finding life's purpose. Yeah. And in the book, if you know it, it's got the Venn diagram, and basically it makes you study what you're good at, what you can be paid for, what the world needs. I always forget the fourth one, but basically whatever's in the middle of that Venn diagram is your true purpose. And someone at the same time with me reading that book had said to me, "Oh, you're a really good graphic designer." And it was because I had designed them a flyer. They were a teacher, and I had turned them away. Said, I'm not expanding the business. I can't take you on. And I said, I'll make you a flyer. You can then go out and promote your own services. And once I'd given them that flyer, they were like, "You're really good at this." And as a teacher, I'd been using Canva designing for a very long time, unofficially. As a graphic designer, I'd done my own website, marketing materials for my first business. As a teacher, you're always making educational resources, worksheets, booklets, all sorts of things. And I love spending time on Canva designing things. I'd even brought out 2 children's books that I had designed on Canva. And so that is when I realized this is my life's purpose, designing. So I went down a lot of rabbit holes. I learned all of my Adobe certifications, started applying for internships and junior graphic designer jobs. But to be honest, who wants a 38-year-old graphic designer as an intern? Nobody. There's a bunch of 20-year-olds that take those jobs. So it was really difficult for me to find a job in that field, and in such a squiggly career path. They take one look at my CV, teacher, psychiatric nurse, a bunch of other different jobs. Like, no one took me seriously. So I thought to myself, well, what do I do best? I work well for myself. I've had my business. I'll set up another business. So I set up my graphic design studio, House of Cult Brands. And I found it very difficult because my education company grew massively by itself with no marketing at all. Just like I said, word of mouth. But the second business in London, no one knows who I am. No one cares what I'm doing. I don't really have a portfolio because I haven't worked with any clients. And so I was like, what do I do to be able to follow my dream? So I start networking, and it's the first time. It was about a year ago I started networking. First time I've ever been in a space like that where I've had to put myself out there, be courageous, and introduce myself. And I loved it, to be honest. I love talking. I love helping people. I love educating people. And that it was in that moment, after a couple of months of networking, that I realized even if I was to book a full client schedule, fully booked, I can't help everyone, and I want to help everyone. And so I was like, what can I do to give these businesses, founders, startups, entrepreneurs, the skills to do their own branding and design and marketing themselves? So I looked into a newsletter, an online platform, a blog, a Substack. I didn't really want to do any of these things. They've all been done before. And I guess this is where out of the box thinking, conformity. I didn't want to conform to everybody's got a Substack, I'll do one too kind of thinking. And so I decided to start a newspaper.
Which is, I'm going to interrupt you for a second, because you're right. I think this is how you and I met.
Yes.
It's through that newspaper. And I love, and I know it's a beautiful story, actually, a lot of Audacity, and the ups and the downs of life, which in life is not circular. It's interesting. I mean, and I didn't know your story. So even to hear it live, actually, Kierian, for everybody who's listening to us, I mean, that's been part of the purpose of this, is to go unscripted and, get the story. So it's amazing to hear it with, being at the bottom and then winning the lottery and then ending from US into Hong Kong. Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that is quite a story. But, so what I know of you, it is in newspaper. I would love, do you have some, some of the hard copies of the newspapers, again, I mean, that's the latest, which is why I saw your, I think it was your issue 4, and I just wanted to match those colorful colors with my
Yeah.
memories. But and I love that title. And I know, I mean, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about, from the beginning to, because
Yeah.
every issue is different. I mean, this is network net worth, which is what
Yes,
we're talking
so I
about.
can start at the start. So the reason I chose the name Brand Cult is because I wanted to help businesses build cult brands. And to do that, you need to build obsession. Your clients and your customers have to be obsessed with what you do and what you say. They have to be your ride or dies, and they have to have absolute loyalty. So my first issue was, why am I so obsessed? And it was all about building that obsession around your business. And yeah, it was a really good issue. We interviewed, this was my favorite interview from that issue, was hair syrup, if you can see that. This girl here is Lucy, and basically she was 22 years old and built a hair care brand, went to Dragon's Den. They told her no, they didn't want to invest in another TikTok brand by a 22-year-old. And she already had a viral following, never paid for any paid advertising, but her following, what that did when she got rejected was they rallied behind her and pushed her up so much and elevated her so much that she's now stocked all over the UK in Boots, Urban Outfitters. Also, she's estimated to make 8.6 million, I think, next year, and she's only 24 or 25 now. But this was all about building obsession, and like I said, didn't pay for any advertising, and it's all because of her community and the people that love what she does. And then we've had this other issue was all about rebranding your mindset as a founder. We mentioned in the beginning that I think it was like persistence is a sort of founder quality. And this issue talks all about the different qualities and what it takes. And one of my favorite interviews in this one was actually with this psychologist. She's a positive psychologist, Dr. Maruka. And she basically, I turned her interview into a worksheet. So every time she gave something, it was actionable. I got you to write it down, write down things that blocked you. And it was all to do with your mindset. So that was a great issue as well. And basically, I choose the issues randomly and what I think are going to benefit founders. So that's what led me to the third issue, which was the finance issue. And this is a receipt from the store of entrepreneurship, and it's basically listing everything you need to be an entrepreneur. And at the very bottom, you probably can't see it, but it says 8,771.68 pence plus sanity, because that's what you need to sacrifice sometimes to be a founder. But in that one, I had interviews with angel investors, accountants, and it was I followed the stories. This is a bootstrapped business, and this business was funded. Nicola, she raised over $500,000 in funding. So I followed both of those journeys so that founders could see what might suit them. Because a lot of people think, oh yeah, I need to get funding because everybody else is getting funding, but that might not be what your business needs. And obviously I know that I'm not an expert in a lot of these areas, and that's why I love to interview industry experts and UK businesses, whoever they might be. I'd love to connect with more people that want visibility for their business and want to share their stories as well. And that leads me to our latest issue. So we've only had 4 issues out. It's been 4 months since I started Brand Cult, but already we've gained so much traction because, first of all, people love a physical. When I say newspaper, they'll say, oh, okay, newspaper. But when I actually show them a newspaper, they're like, oh, it's a real newspaper? And I'm like, yeah, because it's Brand Cult's mission to actually bring founders offline, away from those Substacks and newsletters, because we sit at our table all day long. and then we might take a break for dinner, but do we really want to have to log back on and check our emails and our newsletters and our Substacks? Or do we want to sit on the couch with a nice cup of hot chocolate and flip through a newspaper, but a super fun newspaper? So, for example, I mentioned the traction. I was able to get an interview with the founder of Perfect TED, Marissa Poster,
Mm-hmm.
who is amazing at building her own customer community. She does so much in the space. She really nurtures her customers. It's her number one um, um, thing that she tries to do, basically, and it helps her business so much. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I read that story, and that was a great story in terms of, again, how she, created a huge following. I think, again, sort of in what she's created. And you had a couple more, like the quotes boardroom. I think that was a great story. But the one I really liked, I mean, I liked them all, but the one that intrigued me most, that seemed very audacious, it was that, the inviting to try something and to fail, bringing to buy a Hermes
Yeah.
bag. And, can you tell us that story in 1 minute? Because I loved it.
Yeah, so this is a marketing campaign that they launched during Fashion Week in New York City, and it's a claw machine. And they chose a claw machine because of nostalgia and what it evokes emotion, and that's the biggest part of marketing, is you want to evoke emotion. But basically, they put an Hermes bag in the middle, and they put up signs saying it's impossible to win this bag. You cannot win this bag. But they had hours of queues around the block trying to play the game to win the bag, and there were so many elements of why this works. But that was, yeah, one of the, and we've also got the comic strip as well.
Yes, you had the comic strip on the same, and actually it is. And you had, I think you had Harriet Coleman there, which she said that networking is actually dating for business, which is quite audacious to say, but it's true. And I think one of the things that she was saying, which really landed and resonated with me, is it's actually, it's connecting, not collecting. So in the good old days with collecting lots of business cards, and then what for? All you want is connect with one person who it could be the as you said,
I have this little folder, and it's full of business cards from all the networking events I've been to. And to be honest, I haven't really connected with many of them afterwards, maybe just a handful. So it's not about collecting, it's about connecting. And I don't mean just like following up and sending a, hey, met you at this event, nice to meet you. That's a good start, but you need to make more of an effort. I think everybody does in this day and age, needs to make more of an effort to connect with people in their community genuinely.
Yes, I mean, and it is in all of this. It's so much connection through the social media. It's almost like, how do you connect at a much deeper level? And your last edition was all about this community and how important it is to do it at a deeper level. And it takes, you and I will talk about how many points of contact. They used to say, what, 7, I think.
Yeah, they used to say 7.
It's a lot more.
Now it's about 25. Someone needs to see your brand 25 times or connect with you 25 times before they'll think about you.
Yeah, which is, again, it's good to be aware of all of this differentiations and yeah, up leveling to where we need to be. But it's so tell me, in terms of I suppose the vision for your newspaper, because that's really where you are now, where you came from and where where you are and where you want to go.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, that my mission for Brand Cult is to bring founders offline. So, in one way we're doing that is by publishing the newspaper, and they're at home and they're coming offline to read the newspaper. But I also want to introduce events and activations, kind of similar to the Perfect TED ones that I wrote about. So you'll see Brand Cult if you're a founder or entrepreneur and you're going to events, the business show, Ideas Fest. Brand Cult will be there with an activation to bring founders together to build a community. That's the plan. And yeah,
tell me more about the activation. What does that mean for someone like me who's old fashioned?
This is the first time I'm talking about it, so you got to keep it secret, whoever's listening. I actually aim to get a 16th century church confession booth. and I want to convert it into a photo booth and take it to these business events. And then the business owners and founders can go into the confession booth. They can press an intercom, confess their business sins and stories and client horror stories. And then they get, as penance, they have to take their photo booth pictures with the brand cult on the bottom and then take them away with them. So it's just a fun activity. They get to share something, they get to take pictures, and it's an experience and also brand awareness for brand cult. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And actually, for you, I think the audience, as you said, it's founders, it's entrepreneurs. So, how will they find you if they wanted to subscribe to the newsletter? Or maybe you were mentioning, that you want to interview experts in
Yeah.
various industries. How do they connect with you?
So I'd love to invite anybody who's interested in brand cult in any capacity to visit brandcult.uk. And I'm not sure if there's comments or show notes where we can put that for people to click on. But if you visit brandcult.uk, there's an area there where you can sign up for our newsletter. And you can also click on a button that takes you to a brand interest form. And in that form, it will ask you if you want to be interviewed as a guest, or if you want to advertise, or what capacity you want to be involved, and you can share your story. And then I look at them regularly because, like I mentioned, I want to interview industry experts and businesses within the publication. So if you're looking for visibility, fill out the brand interest form on the website. And you can join the cult, get the newspaper. We've got a couple of memberships. The first membership's $14.99, and you get the newspaper. That includes delivery. And the thing is about brand cult, it's not just receiving a newspaper in the mail. You actually receive it, and it's wrapped up in tissue and sealed with a wax stamp. And you have to break open the wax stamp to get the newspaper out. And this next issue that I'm working on is all about messaging. And I'm actually interviewing someone who develops brand scents. So brand cult is actually going to have their own brand scent made, because that's another way of messaging to people. Now, every time someone gets their newspaper and smells that scent, they'll know that's brand cult. And so it's another element that I'm working on, but it's a whole experience receiving your brand cult, and you can join the cult on the website. And I'd love to offer your listeners and audience a discount. So if you type in the promo code cult mystery, I think it's cult mystery or it's mystery cult. Well, I need to check that, double check which one it is. But that will give you a mystery discount on brand cult when you sign up.
So brand, I mean, I'm sort of looking to see if I can type it. I don't know. So it is, if we type it in the actual chat.
Let me
brand mystery like that.
No. That's.
If not, we will. I mean, when in LinkedIn, actually, at the moment, at the end of all of this live, there is still also the possibility to write
cult mystery. That's what it is.
Cult mystery. Okay,
cult
great.
Mystery.
But we'll do it. We'll put it into the the comments. I think we'll put it into the comments in the LinkedIn, and we can always. I mean, there are no notes like the podcast, but we can definitely put it through the messaging. So
perfect. Yeah. So it's cult mystery if you want a mystery discount and join the cult. You can also follow us on Instagram as well. We do a lot of fun things. I really try and include my community on Instagram. So every Sunday we do cult confessions, because I know that you guys are not all going to church. So instead, you get to confess via Instagram stories what your business sins are. And they're a lot of fun to read and to submit as well. So we're over there. We're everywhere, whatever platform you're on.
Great. And actually, that's a great mission to have, to not necessarily be everywhere, but yes, to be a cult, as you said, in the brand world, in the brand world, in the founders and sort of entrepreneurs, which is amazing. And you were still early on that journey. So, it's very exciting. It is very audacious. And you and I were sort of talking, I think, my invitation will be for people to connect. Obviously, LinkedIn is my platform of choice, but with you, could be LinkedIn, could be Instagram. And then, go for the mystery cult, did you say, which they don't know what type of discount they're going to get. Is they're going to find out when they applied for it. I love that. All of the mystery that comes with your with your
Yeah.
experience.
And that's me not conforming, doing what I want because no one else is doing it out there. So why not?
Why not? Exactly. That's one of my absolutely most favorite questions. Why not? And I know we at the time, but I know we started slightly later with the lag and the internet problems. But I could, I could listen to you all day. We could speak all day, but maybe we'll do it another time. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on,
Yeah,
Kierian.
thank you for having me and letting me share my story, giving me a space to voice my thoughts and welcome everybody into my world.
Fabulous. Well, thank you. Looking forward to getting, the newspaper and then actually just, seeing what you are producing and creating in the world. I think you're saying in terms of events, if anybody has got experience in that world, again, sort of, connect with you. And then
Yes, please.
scary as it does with the photo booth, I'm looking forward to hearing those stories.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to be doing a fundraising event to raise funds to pay for because 16th century church confession booths don't come easy or cheap. So we're doing a fundraising event. If anybody knows how to do those, it would be great to hear from you.
Fabulous, fabulous. That's great. Well, thank you. Thank you, Kierian. Thank you, everybody who was able to, with the internet, to join us. And then we'll be in touch soon.
Yes, thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.